souls, hello one and all. Welcome to Grandma D's house, where you can be you, I can be me, and we'll learn from the magic book machine. We'll put some things in, then a story comes out to help us figure out what life is all about. So come and see Grandma D, Fifi, Brandon, and Ashley, 'cause when you're with them, you're with family. 1, 2, fiddly 3, it's Grandma D in the magic book machine.
Brandon, I ran out of glue. What now?
Oh, hi reading friends. We are making Get Well Soon cards for Grandma D.
Hey, reading friends. Brandon, I want your glue.
This is all I have, and I need it for my card.
Well, I don't have enough, and I want to put all these sparkles on still.
Well, you have all of the sparkles, and I need my glue.
Fine. Keep your glue.
Fine then. Keep your spades.
Oh, for the love of crumb cake! I can hear the two of you all the way in here. What is the problem?
Well, Ash and I are making cards, and we both need the glue, and we both need sparkles.
Look, you need to share. You give a little glue to Ash, and Ash, you give a little glue to Brandon.
Oh, right. Ash, reading friends, share and share alike. We all can give a little to get a little. Thanks, Fifi.
No problem. Now I'm going to go back to my homework if y'all don't mind. Let's keep story time to a dull roar, yeah?
Reading friends, Ash, that reminds me. We need to get to story time.
Oh, and I think I know a book that might help you and I out here, Brandon.
Are you talking about that book, Grandma Lena's Big Old Turnip? I love that one.
Yep.
Okay, reading friends, are you ready to read the book together? Great! Reading together is so much fun. I love reading as a group. All right, here we go. Grandma Lena's Big Old Turnip, written by Dania Lewis Hester and illustrated by Jackie O Banovich.
The whole thing started when Grandma Lena decided to grow turnips in her backyard garden. With her reading glasses perched on her nose, all winter she studied her seed catalogs, hoping to find just the right kind to plant.
Grandma chuckled at the fancy names. There are white knights and scarlet queens, royal crown and white lady. She finally decided on a turnip called Purple Top. After all, purple was her favorite color.
When spring arrived and the ground was soft enough for digging, Grandma Lena planted the tiny seeds. She didn't worry that their air was still nippy. She knew turnips like cool weather. Soon, tiny plants popped up. For the next month, Grandma Lena watered and weeded her turnip plants every day.
Hey, Lena,
Uncle Isidore teased.
I hope you taught those turnips to swim. You're watering them so much, I'm afraid they're going to drown.
Grandma Lena grunted and said what she always believed. Anything worth doing is worth doing right. Every day, the turnips grew. One was bigger than the rest.
On the first day of June, Grandma Lena stepped into her garden to find the biggest, fattest, most gigantic turnip she ever laid her eyes on.
What a fine turnip stew it will make, she thought. It's enough to feed half the town.
From the porch, Baby Pearl stared at the turnip with wide eyes.
Big potato,
She said with a giggle.
Grandma Lena took hold of the enormous stem and leaves. She yanked and jerked and tugged, but that big old turnip would not budge. Carl, Grandma called, put down that newspaper and help me pull up this big old turnip.
Grandpa took off his reading glasses and came running. Then Grandpa pulled on Grandma where Grandma pulled at the turnip. They yanked and jerked and tugged, but that big old turnip would not budge.
Izzy, Grandma yelled, stop eating up my peach jam and help us pull up this big old turnip.
Uncle Isidore wiped his mouth and came running. Uncle Isidore pulled on Grandpa. Grandpa pulled on Grandma, and they yanked and tugged, and they pulled. The big old turnip would not budge.
Nettie, Grandma yelled, put that baby down and help us pull up this big old turnip.
Cousin Nettie gave Baby Pearl a toy and came running. Cousin Nettie put on Uncle Isidore. Uncle Isidore put on Grandpa, and Grandpa put on Grandma. They yanked and jerked and tugged, but that big old turnip would not budge.
Rascal, Grandma hollered, put down that bone and help us pull up this big old turnip. Rascal dropped his chew bone and came running. Then Rascal pulled on Aunt Nettie. Aunt Nettie pulled on Uncle Isidore. Uncle Isidore pulled on Grandpa, and Grandpa pulled on Grandma. They yanked and jerked and tugged, but the big old turnip would not budge. Baby Pearl came toddling across the yard, her diaper half undone. Shame on us, said Grandma. We forgot about Pearl. Baby Pearl pointed at the ground. Big potato, she said. Stand back, Pearl, warned Grandma. I'm going to haul this turnip out if it's the last thing I do. Okay, everyone, pull!
In all the confusion, nobody noticed that Baby Pearl was holding on to Rascal's tail. Then Rascal clamped onto Cousin Nettie's skirt. Cousin Nettie grabbed Uncle Isidore. Uncle Isidore grabbed Grandpa. Grandpa held tight to Grandma. The whole family yanked and jerked and tugged with all their strength.
Pop! At last, with dirt flying in all directions, that big old turnip burst out of the ground and the whole family fell in a pile behind it. Baby Pearl clapped and said, uh-oh, fall down.
By now, the sun was setting. Everyone else went to bed exhausted, but Grandma Lena stayed up late. She washed and chopped the turnip greens and put them in her biggest pots with some onions and bacon and cooked them until they were nice and tender.
After that, she chopped up the giant turnip. It was so big, there would be plenty left over for turnip casseroles, turnip fries, and pickled turnips. Then she made a turnip stew with potatoes, carrots, and peas. What would turnip stew be without cornbread, thought Lena. So she baked golden corn muffins.
The next day, Grandma Lena invited all her friends and neighbors to help her fill in the hole and share her delicious turnip dishes. Half the town showed up with shovels, hoes, and spades. Some brought jugs of cool apple cider and lemony tea cakes to share.
It was the biggest party since last year's 4th of July picnic. Everyone agreed that it was the best meal they'd had in a long, long time.
The neighbors joked about what Grandma Lena would plant next year. It'll be big, one neighbor said. Lena doesn't do anything halfway.
Of course, said Grandma Lena. Anything worth doing is worth doing right.
That night, when the family was full and dozing in their chairs, Baby Pearl whispered to Rascal, "Big potato all gone." The end. Oh, wow. Wasn't that a great book reading, friends? See, Ash? They all got a huge feast and had the best time by working together to make it happen. Hey, reading friends, can you think of something that you can do together with your family at home today?
You know what, Brandon? How about we make a card together for Grandma? The both of us.
That's a super duper idea, Ash.
Yay, that's so exciting. Oh, making cards together is so much fun. Reading friends, you could do it too. Maybe you and your family could make cards together for someone that's special to you.
That's a great idea too, Ash. And reading friends, we hope you join us again tomorrow for another special story time here with us, Grandma D and the Magic Book Machine.
We sure do. And remember, as Grandma always says, we don't much care for goodbyes. So for now, farewell.
It's time to say farewell for now, farewell, farewell, for now, for now. It's time to say farewell for now, farewell, farewell, for now, for now. Our time has been such fun, our friendship's only just begun. So remember to share what you've learned with everyone. But it's time to say farewell for now, farewell, farewell, for now, for now. It's time to say farewell for now, farewell, farewell, for now, for now. Grandma D loves you and everything you are. You can bet we'll be with you even when we seem far. And so we'll say farewell for now, farewell, farewell, for now, for now. It's time to say farewell for now, farewell, farewell, for now.